Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today. Welcome back again to these episodes. Today, we will discuss how to master in social selling, and I have a very, very talented and experienced business with me, Terry Arnold Consultancy. We previously lived on through this channel, and you will know much more how you can master in social selling and digital marketing. It's all about the strategy and talking about the strategy and how you can grow your strategy and be successful in LinkedIn. Before I start and introduce Terry Arnold, I just wanted to uh, just remind you this will be an hour live, and if little bit of housekeeping. If you are at home, please make sure that you got plenty of water with you, and as well as understand if you need to exit, please exit. It will be recorded in this channel, and you can join later. But until then, I will introduce you to Terry Arnold. And hello, Terry. How are you?
Hi there.
So how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here.
Thank you very much for today again to join us and talk to our um, audience about digital marketing as well as social selling. So today we will discuss social selling A to Z, how you can contribute to the growth of the economy as well as grow your business. So Terry, we know that our audience, they know you better because we are being social selling for last couple of months, and they know you very well. But I wanted to request you if you could introduce you to our audience.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Shah. Yeah, my experience historically, I started off with Unilever, so pretty impactful start, and I did about maybe 4, 5, 6 years with Unilever, working in Brussels. I was lucky enough to work in Brussels, which was at that stage their headquarters. Well, when I say their headquarters of the European division, working on all the traditional products that you might imagine in the Unilever stable. I then went on to BBDO International, where I was creative director of BBDO International, working out of New York primarily, but also straddled between Europe and New York, driving large accounts, very large accounts. For example, Pepsi, the traditional American ones that one can imagine, and the biggest win we had at that particular time was Apple. We won Apple Europe, and that was like a team of us between the various heads of the departments, and that was quite impressive, and it was quite a significant gain. It was, I think, at that stage it was worth somewhere in about 7 million, and then we added a few other accounts to that as well. Then I I established my own creative consultancy, which was quite an interesting experience. The peak, we employed maybe 27, 28 people maybe, and that ran for 10 years. And I then sold it and took a breather, as one does, to regain my senses. And then I went on and moved into not digital, research. So because that was one of my loves, I always liked research and I always had a passion for research. And I was working alongside the CEO, and because he was relocating part of the business in order to get a better footprint in Europe and the US. And so the two of us side by side. We had a bit of banking business. I took it into the fintech areas, which was very, the up and coming area of activity, if you want, at that time. And then came the pandemic, which, anyway, we won't talk about that. We all know it. So, and I sort of relaunched the consultancy side of the business. And that is where, that grew, or it is in the process of growing quite nicely. So, back to my roots.
That's really fascinating, Terry. And working together, I understand your expertise as a young person. Working with experienced person like you is always add value to what we do. So, hello everyone. Today we are discussing digital marketing and social selling, how you can master in social selling. Uh, Social selling is very important for any businesses today's, and it is one of the biggest growing industry at the moment. So if you wanted to grow your business, you have to know how you can social sell your product and services. So here today from Zenzi Marketing and Terry Arnold Consultancy, we're going to be talking through digital marketing and social selling and how you can master social selling. Before everything, I wanted to let you know, if you wanted to contact me or Terry through social media or LinkedIn, please feel free to contact us for ourselves and to grow your business. We will assist you and give you a free consultancy, complimentary consultancy session with Terry and myself. And you can understand what you need to do to grow your business. So here we go. It's Terry again. And we will talk through social selling and why it is important. Terry has vast experience working with a big corporate giant companies as well as working individuals globally. And he is the right person to talk to regarding digital marketing and social selling. And he has a vast network on LinkedIn, and you probably see when you go to his profile that vast amount of work he has done already. We are publishing every details of his work through his social media and our social media. So Terry, thank you again for joining today's session. In terms of social selling, I know that you are a social media expert and you always work for digital marketing and you have worked for big brands. How important social selling is to you and for the company you work for?
Well, I think it's in the title, isn't it? I mean, anybody that's not on social networks and I'm not surprised, not so much because the selling side of it is already a specialist area, I would say. But I think most people are on social media, and in some shape or form, they do implement. I wouldn't call them necessarily strategies, but they have reasons, shall we say, for advancing more in a more profound way. Whatever platform they're on, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, they sort of begin to gravitate towards the format that is the one they feel most in contact with and most comfortable with. So from that point of view, you're already going down a line, if you like, probably not quite in terms of professionalism, because when you start to get involved with LinkedIn, for example, it starts to get a lot more sophisticated, and therein, you're starting to start to segment and use your contacts in a more sophisticated way, which I think for a lot of people goes probably quite a lot of it goes over their head. But with the right tuition and the right guidance or the right contacts, you can make your way forward in quite significant ways. So I would say social selling, well, yes, it's it's not, it's more than an important part. It's a way of life now.
Thank you. To the viewers, if you are watching our webinar through social media, we are live broadcasting to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So if you cannot join through LinkedIn, please visit our social media in YouTube through YouTube and Facebook. And today we are doing our webinar on how to master in social selling. And we have Terry Arnold from Terry Arnold Consultancy, and you will know a lot of tactics and techniques how he has implemented to grow a big corporate company like Unilever and Apple and all other big corporate giants. So we will talk about social selling and how you can master yourself in social selling. It's all about strategy, and then implement those strategy with a right guidance, and as well as understand your audience and understand your tactics, what you have done, that you can measure it rightfully. So if you are watching or through LinkedIn, please feel free to ask us any question you may have. And thank you very much for joining today. And if you want a free strategic session, Terry and I will talk to you and assess your social selling strategy as well as other marketing strategy or business development strategy together, and can give you a free strategic guidelines how you can grow your network through social media, as well as digital marketing, and how you can create a trust or the profile and grow your business. So we have Terry Arnold from Terry Arnold Consultancy today. Terry, my next question would be, as you have worked for the French industry as well, so in terms of working with the French people, like European people, what you have done over there, and who do you work for, and how important it is for you to contribute to the French economy?
Well, I think probably one of the most interesting steps forward in my career, I was with a local agency, a UK agency, a very good one, when I first started. And then all of a sudden, I sort of like discovered that there was a world beyond the UK. And I wasn't sort of like venturing out, global at that stage. But what I did achieve was that I got an offer from Unilever, and it introduced me, as I say, to pan-European advertising, marketing and advertising, which I won't go into all the details, but yeah, it was pretty mind-blowing for me. I was only sort of like in my early 20s at that particular stage. But what happened was that all these techniques, of which they didn't talk necessarily about strategy, because I was only employed to look after a very small aspect of the pan-European brands, like sort of repositioning the logos and that sort of thing. But very minor, but it did expose me to the bigger picture, which was, I found, very, eye-opening, put it that way. So in that respect, what I would say is, if you can start to find your way towards global brands, they will always give you the insights, if you like, into the bigger picture. And you can always come back, or, as I did, I've always carried global brands as being the flagship of my experience, and I've never deviated from that, because after a while it becomes a mindset. But you can if you go into a large corporation and pick up some experience from there, and then you, like lots of people do, they then sort of like go independent, as I did when I did my creative consultancy. You start to see the bigger picture and the foundation from that. It sort of like helps to steer you through issues like strategy and implementation and various other aspects, products, the importance of product design. You get a full range of skills that you can delve into, and you can cherry pick the ones that are most relevant to the project that you happen to be working on at that particular time. So yeah, I think I would recommend that type of experience is invaluable, and no matter where you are, if you're lucky enough, as I was, to have the experience of global organisations like BBDO and Unilever behind you, you never turn back. You never, you're never in want of anything better. Put it that way.
Thank you, Terry. It was really a constructive feedback from you. We just have a question from one of the audience. Do you have any specific suggestion that will support support my growth? So in terms of strategy, do you have any specific suggestion that will grow any company's growth?
Yeah, because I come from a creative background, I use that term inverted commas because creative, I mean, in my eyes, everybody's creative. It just, what just happens, obviously some people just have skills that are specific to a particular industry, but most people are creative. But I was creative in the ad industry, shall we say. But yeah, one of the examples I could give, which I find I was reflecting on only earlier today, was, and it's a very good and a very good example of how strategy, in particular, is effective or can be effective. It was for the French Tourist Board, and it was just to give it a little bit of background. It was on the interactive side. We're working in partnership with Mindshare Interactive, which is a WPP ad agency, or media agency, should I say. And so we partnered with them. We pitched for it. We were up against TBWA and several other, pretty massive incumbents. And we were very much, the outsider, put it that way. But the moment that we presented, and we were one of 4 agencies, of which, as I mentioned, most of them, the other 3 were pretty big, and we were already quite specialized. But when I presented the strategy, specifically, obviously there was a complete presentation, but when we came to the strategy, and the strategy that I had, which I created myself in one line, was only in France. Well, when you use that as an idea or as a concept, that's sort of like, cuts through everything, bearing in mind that, this was my profession and I was, sort of, made to cause that sort of cut through when it comes to presenting. And we'd done all the research and the backup to it and all the rest of it. So we had all the support behind the scenes. But when I was presenting to a lady who is now deputy managing director of the tourist board, French Tourist Board, and I still have very good contacts with her. And I asked her afterwards, well, what made you decide to go with to go with us? And she said it was a copy line, the concept only in France. It was so fantastic, whatever. So, but there was something else that came into play, which she obviously knew this, and I'm not saying that it was important for her or whatever, but I decided when I was at Unilever that I was given the choice to have to choose a language, and I didn't even know that the Belgium market, they spoke they speak three languages if you count English, but it's a country that's split between two languages, French and Flemish, and they had two CEOs, and one of the ones, the Flemish one, came up to me one day when I was about a week after I'd started, and I was obviously struggling, and I was trying to put all the French. I had a board on which all the French words that I could remember were on one board, and all the Flemish words were on another board, because I was in charge of 2 or 3 teams, of which obviously, I didn't want to create any bias. And the Albert Wolversperrs, who was the CEO at the time, very nice guy, and he said to me, "Look, Terry, you can't learn 2 languages at once." And don't worry, yes, I can. Obviously not wishing to show any favoritism. He said, "You got to choose." So I sort of hesitated for a while, knowing he was Flemish, and the obviously the language that's going to have the greatest influence, not in the Belgian market, but on a pan-European basis, is going to be French. So I hesitated and told him, I'll decide, I'll choose French. He said, "Good choice." And he immediately packed me off for a week intensive French course in Spa, in a very nice resort in Spa. And absolutely did my mind in, but intensive. So yeah, after about a week or so, I came out of it thinking I could speak French. What I didn't know is what I'd learned was 500 words, which were repeatedly bashed into my brain in a week in order to be able to string those words together and then sail off into the sunset, but believing I could speak French. So 2 things I would say that I learned, which were most important, the 2 takeaways would be, if you get a chance to learn another language, do it. It will broaden your mind. It will give you a far greater depth and breadth of relationships. And the other thing is, of course, strategy. When I say strategy, the sort of level of strategy that goes on, and one of the reasons why I then moved to an American agency was I actually wanted to. I mean this in the most polite way. I tended to think, Unilever is a very sociable company, a very soft company, and the thing is that when you get into an American agency, an American ad agency like BBDO, absolutely cutthroat. And I don't mean cutthroat in terms of people or whatever. I just mean business-wise. Often there were accounts that I worked on when I would be battling, well, not battling away, but doing the creative, and I'd have sort of like 5 or 6 teams working on it, and goodness knows what. And then the CEO would come into my office and say, "Oh, don't worry about whatever it was, Armstrong Industries. We've done it all now. We've bought the company." you know, it was a flooring company. It was Armstrong Flooring. Yeah, that's the way Americans go about strategy. Put it that way.
Yes,
If they
that's
can't,
that's that's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
That's a great story, Terry. In relation to this strategy, I just had a question from Azama Purno, and she asked, "Can you give an example implementing your strategy and how it helped you to become successful?" Uh,
Um, well, yes. I think the one I cited just then is a good. The French Tourist Board is a very good example because you end up having to do all the stages. Uh, you know, you start off obviously with research. You've got your, shall we say, some ideas together, which you then test in research, normally focus groups, although more and more today people are using the internet and reaching out on totally different types of platforms. But, I think focus groups still remain important, put it that way, even if you're using telephone techniques in order to get those social groups to work together. But then, when you then drill down, you've got all your resources in the planning, in the strategic areas. This, as I say, the strategy is obviously the key part. That's where I would say once you've got past your understanding, if you want to put it that way, and you've got some data to support your strategic thinking or the directions or the insights that you're gathering together in order to start to get the beginnings of a direction, then I would suggest, in my case, again, going back to my Unilever days, what we used to do is we'd present 3 concepts together, and they would be, behind the scenes. We never explained it like this to the clients or outside. We'd have what we call the banker, which was probably the least creative. Then you'd have the one that's the most solid, in every sense. The one that's most likely to go through, the one the client would feel most comfortable with, and then the one that we would term off the wall, which is I wouldn't call it necessarily crazy because depends how you define crazy, but the most creative idea, and probably the idea that is least likely to get sold. But occasionally you get the surprises, and the client is so adventurous that they do go with it, or they get persuaded to go forward with that the third direction. But then you still got all the other supports behind that. The beginnings, and that is only the beginning, is once you've got the idea through, is the implementation, which again takes a lot of different disciplines and skills from specialists in the sectors, which I won't dive into those, but just by the title of implementation, it sort of starts to suggest to you the types of areas that you need to get involved in. And now that we've got, increasingly more and more markets are becoming increasingly fragmented, and the people that have the skills in those specific areas become increasingly more valuable, shall we put it that way. You've got so many skills and involved quite often in a single execution, and then you've got the delivery and all that side of it. Because even if assuming that you are in the media, You might not be. It might be a promotional activity which doesn't necessarily involve as much. It might be events. It all depends which areas are most appropriate for the communications that you want to emphasize. So you have all that side of it, and these, because once again I come back to depth and breadth of experience. The When you've sort of got the depth and breadth of experience that I've been very lucky to have, then you can cherry pick, shall we say, from a strategic point of view, those disciplines which are going to bring the greatest value and target the right audience more precisely, efficiently, and effectively to your objective. And the outcome, of course, will be better because the results, because everything these days is so, it's all performance driven. The performance will be improved.
Thank you, Terry. To our audience, you are watching our webinar on LinkedIn and as well as Facebook and YouTube. If you have any question, please feel free to ask us through the comment box, and we will try to answer you and let you know uh, what you have asked for. So today we are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask us to the comment box. And if you want Terry or me to talk you through to a free strategic session, feel free to DM us through our social media or LinkedIn, and we will more than happy to support you with a free strategic session to understand your company, as well as what strategy you are implementing and how you can improve to serve in social media. So we are talking through how you can master in social selling. You probably know that social selling is a very big field, and before you do anything, you have to understand the right strategy you are implementing. So all of our session here in LinkedIn, we always prioritize strategy first, and then implementation, and then measuring the outputs and outcome, and you will get your results, and you will be happy. But if you don't have a right strategy for social selling, it will be difficult for you to understand where you have gone wrong, or how you can improve your strategy, or if you could done better than anything else. So strategy is the core thing for you to carry on, uh, as well as implementing the right strategy for social media. If you want a free strategic session, Terry and I are more than happy to support you with your strategic session. It's a free complimentary session. So we have Terry Arnold today from Terry Arnold Consultancy, and we are talking through his experience and his expertise working with big corporate companies like Unilever, Lottery, and Apple, and many other companies. So we're going to be having many other strategic session through LinkedIn, and Terry and I will go through with each and every session to support you with building a right strategy for your audience. So, Terry, we have another questions.
Yeah.
Why is mastering LinkedIn social media strategy is crucial um, in today's business landscape?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So we got a question here from Mahbub.
All right. Okay. So it's a question. Yeah. Okay. Go on. Yeah. Finish it off.
He's
Yeah.
asking why mastering LinkedIn crucial for social selling in today's business landscape.
Just look at the stats on LinkedIn. I don't even remember what type of audience LinkedIn has now. Dr. Shah probably can tell right off the top of his head because he's more familiar with LinkedIn than I am. That doesn't mean that I'm, no, my focus is down more specific areas of LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is the go-to business platform if you want. And if you start to look at LinkedIn, I mean, it has globally, it has the market. LinkedIn is the market go-to platform. So all in all, as it's developed, and it has developed quite rapidly, I would say. I wouldn't put it on the parallel with, shall we say, some of the developments in Google or Facebook more recently, especially with AI and all the rest of them. But it's not far behind. I'm sure they're developing their own form of AI, interpretation of AI. But when you look at it, LinkedIn, it gives you well, I was going to say unqualified. No, qualified. It qualifies at various levels. If you talk like Navigator or whatever other subdivision of LinkedIn that you want to data mine, it just is so powerful, and it can present to you the sorts of answers that you might, and rapidly, at the press of a button, put it that way, but quite rapidly. And there's always other platforms that you can then go on to, digital platforms that I can name, but LinkedIn is the definitive. That's the easiest way to put it. If you're starting anywhere, you've got to mastermind or have at least a pretty good understanding. And I'm not talking about putting on your profile on face on LinkedIn, but you need to go at least to the level that Dr. Shah can easily help you with, far better than I can even.
Thank you, Terry. Yes, as we say always, that strategy and specifically developing your strategy based on your target audience is very crucial. When we work with individual company, we look into their technology first, and then look into their strategy. What specific strategy will we tailor for them to grow their business? Because you can have strategy, but all the strategy tailored to other businesses will not work for you, or may not work for you, because every individual business, they have their own strengths and weaknesses, and individual thinking and individual commitments. So if we are working with individual company, like we're working with Terry Arnold Consultancy, when we're working with Terry, we have vast knowledge, and we are utilizing Terry's knowledge with our work, and combining them together, we are addressing the market gaps. Because one thing that you need to know, you have to have experience and knowledge to go with a vast network, and as well as you need to implement that strategy to get your network buy your product and services. So always remember strategy, knowledge, and then implementation. And right implementing your strategy will give you the success. So we have Terry Arnold from Terry Arnold Consultancy today. So to viewers, if you wanted to have a free strategic session, feel free to contact me or Terry through social media or through LinkedIn. And we will give you a free strategic session to understand your business and give you a strategic guideline for you to carry out these activities. And if you need further help, we are here in social media as well as other social media channels. LinkedIn is the best way to contact us. So if you need a strategic session, feel free to contact me or Terry. And we're going to be moving to the next segment of our webinar today. Next week, just to be a reminder, next week we're again coming here with Terry, and we will discuss mastering digital domain, and we will talk about a strategic guide to marketing excellence. Terry has vast experience, and we wanted to know his experience. We wanted to learn from him and grow our network, as well as grow our expertise to contribute to the local and national economy. So here is Terry today. My next question to Terry: how important for the uh, strategic analytics and as well as evaluation methods for anyone to grow their business?
Yeah, I think analytics is key. I remember probably around about the period. Maybe some of you are too young to know what was termed in those days the Big Bang. When we were all experiencing the Big Bang, and it was it wasn't an expression. It wasn't underplayed. It was a Big Bang. But in internet terms, and I was sort of like, I was just getting to grips with the idea. All of a sudden, research had gone into analytics. Everybody was talking analytics. And this, obviously, I was at, sort of like, in those days, a BBDO or whatever. What was analytics? It was being banded around, and a lot of people were starting up consultancies, with analytics as their core area. Now, roll the time on, and if you think like when I was doing consultancy, and I was landing clients like Deloitte and Ernst and Young, and various major consultancies like obviously projects were coming out of these sorts of types of companies. And then one of the clients that I had at that time was I can't remember it was Capgemini. And because of obviously Capgemini is French, so obviously my French came in useful. And I got several projects from them. I won't go through the details of them, but what blew me away was they changed their chairman. It was like it was in the middle of one of these projects, and the chairman changed. The chairman of Capgemini, and he came in and he said, the future is all about data. Now, that for me was a bit of a quantum leap, because I was thinking, I didn't even like handling numbers. I wouldn't call myself proficient when it came to numbers. But he was making such an impression that, basically he was saying, if you don't get involved with statistics or data, you're gonna be dead in the water. Well, 15 years on, 15 years forward, look where we are now. Data, I would even argue, some people would argue data is king, not content. I would say you even have to master data before you can master content. Certainly in the evolution of things, I would put it at the top of the tree. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but, I've had to get myself involved with data and bring it up. I always had an interest and a passion right from my early days when I was in Unilever. I was always curious because I was more responsible for the creative side. That's what I was earmarked for. as a creative person. But when I was creating my campaigns, I used to spend the evenings going to the focus groups, because I was always interested to hear how, when with my concept boards, how my campaigns were, being treated, or were they surviving? Was the creative work surviving? Standing up. And that sort of experience and understanding, not only did it give me a passion for, the research side, which stayed with me throughout my life, my working career, but it also helped to steer me. And I can give some pretty good examples of some crazy ideas that the creative teams and I came up with, which should have gone through. No brand names mentioned, but they should have gone through. And 15 years later, I look at them, and some of them now are sort of like making headways into the creative areas. Can be considered to be reasonably creative, with a small r, put it that way. But yeah, so they'll never be sort of like mind-blowingly creative, but that expectation obviously comes from creative directors.
I totally agree with you, Terry. Data and assessing the data is very important and crucial. As we prioritize our decision based on the data. So at Zenzi Marketing, we create social selling strategy, as well as how you can implement that strategy and understand your audience, and then execute your strategy and measure it. So without a reasonable data, we cannot measure your strategy. And LinkedIn has a very good mechanism to understand how you are performing your individual post and how you growing your network. And you will have every detail when you log into your account and profile to see either is a business account or your personal profile. You will know how many people has contacted you, how your post is performing, and how many people has seen your post and reached how many people your post has reached through LinkedIn. It is very important to understand that your social media, uh, and to grow your social media, you need right strategy, and as well as understanding your strategy if you wanted to grow more and bring success to your team. Thank you to our viewers, whoever joining this live session. We are here today to talk about how you can master in social selling and what strategies do you need to implement to become successful and grow your business. Here, I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, and I have Terry Arnold from Terry Arnold Consultancy. We're going to be talking another 10 minutes and 15 minutes. If you wanted to ask us any specific question, please feel free to ask us through the comment box, and we will try our best to answer the question. And we are at the end of a segment of our session, and we will go and continue our talking through strategy and mastering in social selling. I wanted to ask Terry, uh, as you have many examples working with a big corporate company. Uh, on our previous live, we talk about the strategy and how a local business can work with a corporation like Unilever or Big Lottery or Apple and other things. You already have worked these companies, and do you have any suggestion, strategic suggestion, how they can grow their business and how they can add value through social media to attract a big corporation like Apple or Unilever and work with them?
Well, you could have said that I might be biased, but I would always say, bear in mind, if you're not, people put different titles on creativity, but if you're not flexible in your thinking, if you're not open-minded, I don't know what label you want to put on it, um, uh, you're not going to go far. Put it that way. You're just going to go up against a brick wall. So I would say probably I always like to use the term creativity because be creative, because I think that for me, not only is it my principal discipline and it's, sort of like provided a good career for me. But if it, if it's given another title, whatever, leadership, whatever title you want to put on it. But you've got to have an open mind. That is a number one requisite. Basically, if you just happy doing a 9 to 5 job, pushing pens or whatever the modern instruments are in your discipline and doing that 7 days or 5 days a week, and you're happy, that's all well and good. Some people that I know, even good friends of mine, happy to do that. But if you're creatively inclined or you're a bit more imaginative, and I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, that people that, following other careers and don't have any imagination. That's not true. I believe everybody has imagination and is creative in some shape or form. But if you can sort of like steer yourself down that, in all aspects down that direction, and really make creativity your champion, then you're not going to go far wrong. You're going to come up with less resistance, put it that way, less confrontation. Mainly because of your attitude and the fact that you are open-minded and you're looking for a result. You don't know where that result is. I mean, that's what research has taught me. In all my years, you won't believe it, but I thought probably halfway through my career, I thought I had all the answers. I was like, I'd worked in all the big companies on all the big brands, risen to the top of the tree in my profession. And, I wasn't ever big-headed, but I tried to retain a degree of modesty. But in the back of my mind, I thought I had all the solutions. But then what I began to realize as analytics came along and all the rest of the disciplines came along and overlaid everything, that I didn't have any of the answers. In fact, the more I learned, the less the more questions I was raising and the more answers needed answering. So from that point of view, I then gradually, obviously the fact that the job was offered to me in research to run a global research company or manage it, and it was the perfect fit for me at that time. And so having that opportunity gave me a set of disciplines in, should we say, the research market, global marketing research, that hitherto I was not. I was interested in it, but I was dabbling in it. When I compare it with what I did at iResearch as a company, a global research company, I was really totally immersed in research on a highly sophisticated level, which again, when you get into the details of it all, it's quite mind-blowing.
Thank you, Terry. To our viewers, thank you very much for your time. You are watching our live on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. So if you have any question, please feel free to um, contact us, and as well as through the message box, ask us any question you have. And we are today discussing mastering social selling through LinkedIn. You know that LinkedIn is a powerful social media for many businesses. There are over 900 million business users for LinkedIn currently, and is continue to grow. And uh, for Gen Z marketing, we utilize the power of LinkedIn to grow our network as well as grow our business. So we have Terry Arnold from the Terry Arnold Consultancy today, and we are going through with mastering social selling. And if you have any question, please feel free to access to the message box. And if you want a free strategic session, feel free to contact us and DM us through social media. We are nearly end of our session today, and we thank you for your cooperation and contribution. And we will continue to bring Terry Arnold to many other episodes to come. And next week, we will come again and we will discuss more into strategy with Terry and understand his case studies. He has a vast knowledge working with big corporations like Apple and Unilever and many other corporate big giant. So if you wanted to listen to Terry, stay tuned, and always you can find him through social media, and as well as ask him any specific question you have. We are end of our session, and I will now ask Terry specifically for our viewers, if you wanted to give a magic wand to someone to tailor his strategies, would you give a magic wand, or you will give your tailored suggestion for them to grow and build their strategy for the purpose they are trying to achieve?
Well, if you go on my website, I think there's a phrase that I use quite often: um, global global marketing experience, digital marketing expertise. So, in that phrase, I try to encapsulate what I personally have over sort of like 30, 40 years of my career, the culmination of all that experience in a two-part phrase, which again, going back to Unilever, which I think, many lessons I learned from Unilever. One of the things that stuck in my brain was Unilever always had a principle of most people always talk about delivering, one offer or one advantage or one benefit, one USP. Unilever, if you look at their products, and most of their products, they don't. They deliver two. And that is a master stroke. Often when you look at the benefits and you analyze them, they're delivering two benefits. Dove is a classic example, Dove soap. It doesn't, it just doesn't soften your skin. I can't remember what the second benefit is, but, most of them, they deliver two benefits. So that to me was a great lesson to learn. Why deliver one benefit when you can deliver two? Plus the fact that, they don't just deliver it superficially, because when you look at, if you take soaps, for example, or you take skin softeners, when they deliver the benefit, they back it up with some sort of like, aloe vera oil or whatever it happens to be, because that counteracts the concept of it, because Unilever, is about soaps. Most people relate soaps, well, certainly ladies, that it dries your skin. So by adding another benefit, like aloe vera oil, they counteract that and they push that as being the secondary benefit. So they're very clever, So in my case, I tried to take a lesson from them, and even in the work that I'm doing now in building the consultancy, deliver two benefits.
Thank you, Terry. It will be beneficial for our viewers to listen to this conversation. So we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So we are nearly end of our session. We are just running a couple of minutes over. If you wanted to contact us directly through our social media, please feel free to contact us. And if you wanted to DM Terry Arnold directly, he's in LinkedIn, and you utilize his expertise to grow your business, to grow your strategy. As we discuss always, there isn't any magic wand that will help you to grow quickly. You have to have a right strategy and then implement those strategy to grow your business. So we are nearly end of the session. So I will ask Terry if you could add an end remarks and to our viewers.
Well, obviously, everybody's pursuing their own initiatives and careers, and with one assumes a lot of passion and a lot of dedication. So I would say, my footnote to this session is, first of all, thank you very much for welcoming me to Dr. Shah for welcoming me, and to the audience for being patient enough to listen to me. And I wish you all the best, really do, most sincerely, because when you look at the amount of skills, talent, and effort that you put into your careers, and I look at the results that people are achieving, it's staggering, it's really impressive. So I do really wish you all the best.
Thank you, Terry, for your time today. So to our viewers, we will come back again next Friday with Terry, and we will discuss more strategy and how you can develop and grow your business through LinkedIn. For today, we are just going to be ending our session in a few minutes' time. And if you wanted to contact us and a free strategic session with Terry and us, we are here to support you, Zensi Marketing. We develop a social selling strategy, as well as we execute end-to-end strategy with qualified as well as expert businesses like Terry Arnold and many other companies that we are working to grow our audiences, as well as support businesses we work for. So thank you very much for your time and listening to us for an hour. And we wanted to say you bye. And I wanted to say thank you to Terry, and as well as thank you, our viewers. So we're going to be heading to finishing this session now. And I will welcome you next week with another of our social selling live on LinkedIn and other social media. So thank you very much for your time today, and stay tuned and see you next week.